Hello everyone, I'm so excited to be here virtually with you all today at SpringOne. My name is Heather Mickman and I'm the Interim CIO at Gap Inc., which includes our portfolio of brands, Old Navy, Gap, Banana Republic, and Athleta. I've been with Gap Inc. since the beginning of the year and I'm incredibly energized by all the amazing work the company and our technology teams are doing. For example, you might not realize that Gap Inc. has thousands of microservices running in production today. I'll come back to our tech stack in a minute, but first I want to tell you a little bit about some of the bold transformations we've taken on in the last year and a half. As a retailer, our ability to scale our systems and operations is a necessity. Running most of our customer-facing digital properties in the cloud allows us to better scale quickly. Scaling our data centers without being in the cloud would be incredibly challenging. At Gap Inc., we are built to win in a changing marketplace with a digital-first mindset. Our 4 brands are hosted on one site, one app, and we're ranked number 2 in U.S. apparel e-commerce sales. In retail, peak is defined as the holiday shopping season, typically beginning in November until right before Christmas. Our highest traffic days are usually the Black Friday to Cyber Monday weekend. However, in 2020, our seasonality looked a little bit different as we sought to understand changing customer behaviors during the pandemic. We saw peak levels of shopping begin earlier than ever. In 2020, we ran peak in the cloud for the first time. Not only was this the first time running peak in the cloud, but the continued effects of the pandemic on store closures and customers' apprehension to shop in stores made it even more critical for our systems to be able to run at scale during those days. For context, our busiest hour for our e-commerce site visits was 9 p.m., and the busiest hour for purchases was 10 p.m. We saw more than 1,100 orders per minute and more than 10,000 visits per minute, almost a 20% increase from our busiest hour in 2019. If our sites or apps had failed, even briefly, we could lose hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of shopping and disappoint our customers. So, our prep to ensure that we can make peak happen is super important. Our preparation efforts last the entire year. Our forecasted volumes are defined early, and we perform many load tests to understand where we have bottlenecks in our ecosystem and adjust accordingly. As you can imagine, there is a lot of automation that goes into our testing and how we scale up so that we can easily run these tests over the course of the year as we understand more about customer preferences, trends, and traffic patterns. Our technology transformation and modernization of apps into the cloud will enable us to continue scaling our systems as we continue to see traffic and orders continue to grow year over year. It will also enable us to be prepared for unexpected traffic spikes. As an example, in the first quarter of 2021, we saw higher net sales than anticipated, close to peak volumes, and our system scaled seamlessly to enable us to meet the higher demand without issue. When we look at VMware, our entire e-commerce stack is on Spring, and we accelerated our app modernization and migration to Azure with Pivotal Cloud Foundry, which is now called Tanzu Application Service since VMware acquired Pivotal. We also utilize a microservices architecture to deliver the flexibility, speed, and reusability required to power our 4 brands. Beyond peak, our technology teams had a number of big wins earlier this summer. First, when we launched the first Yeezy Gap product, we had high levels of confidence going into the launch and had scaled the entry point to the experience to 30,000 TPS. With a lot of eyes on a critical and in-demand product drop, this was a really impressive milestone. It was also my first new product launch with the team, and I'm super excited for more. We also saw a successful launch of our new integrated rewards program across the US and Puerto Rico in July. This combined the previous credit card and loyalty programs under one membership, 4 brands. This was a tricky technical challenge for our teams, and we delivered, so a huge win. Another example of how we were able to scale super quickly was when we stood up buy online, pick up curbside in just a matter of weeks back in April 2020. And we also implemented convenience hubs in our Athleta and Old Navy stores late last year. Customers have begun to expect this type of seamless experience from us, and one of our top priorities is to ensure they experience this across the entire shopping journey, whether that means shopping online, on our app, or in a store. We know that we're hitting the mark with our customers as we saw a 14% increase in our retail NPS scores in 2020, with an average score of 70 against an industry standard of 62. We set bold growth goals last October in our Power Plan 2023. Our ability to quickly shift, as well as our agility and scale, has created a strong growth trajectory that will help us reach those goals. We were able to pivot and innovate to respond to customer needs during the pandemic and are continuing to thrive. So keep an eye out for more exciting things from Gap Inc.